My name is Patty Petrucci. I live on 100 Green Street, and I agree with you about recycling. And my understanding to the handout was that, this program is supposed to implement more recycling, encourage people to recycle more. But like everybody else sees it, it's a threat. You're going to be punished if you do this. But I agree with the woman who spoke before me. Recycle Bank. Rivera is doing it. Everett is doing it. This encourages people to recycle. And the more people recycle, they actually get points for how much that they recycle. Those points people save, and then it builds up. And they can redeem them for all kinds of, I have all the information in here, I'm sure you have it, but I'm going to leave it here. It's like to all the stores, there's restaurants that participate in it, all different companies here in our around our city. And what you do is you redeem these points for dinner maybe, buying, purchasing products from here and there, all these companies who participate in it. So wouldn't it make more sense? You said that if you reduce the rubbish.
Yes.
All right. Now, if you reduce the price of the rubbish by encouraging this type of program, who would say, well, the people are going to get rewarded for it, they're going to want to recycle, and they're going to want to recycle more. This will help to decrease, and this won't be so much of a burden on us with rubbish.
I understand. Let me try to address your point. Let's use our specific example in the recycle bank activity. It doesn't encourage recycling. You have to recycle. You put it all in the recycle bin. There is no trash pickup. Put it all in a single source, as the woman said, bin. They take it, they sort it, and do something with it at the end. In our case, again, our RESCO cost, and it's contained in the pie charts that we put there, is about $2 million annually. For the amount of tonnage we take it down to that facility, they back charge us for that. It's about $2 million. If we signed a contract with the Recycle Bank, they would take 65% of the $2 million to do the program. So theoretically, there might be a savings of all the cost, and the savings is only right now theoretical. Each of these communities is in the very early stages, and they don't know if it's going to work community-wide because they're still negotiating their terms with this contract. If it turns out to be the program that in the same way can solve the problem, then I'm sure we may have been in error, and we would gravitate to what we think would be the correct program. But right now, on our best way of kind of measuring each of the programs, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts advised us this is the right program to embrace and endorse. Other communities have said it's a hard thing to get through at first, but ultimately it does encourage the same amount of recycling that we're talking about. If we reevaluate and we find out that we're wrong, I'm sure we'll try to embrace the program that provides the least amount of burden upon the taxpayer or resident and also provides the same amount of benefit. But as of right now, we don't think that that's going to be the case, and neither does the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Well, I don't see how the Commonwealth of Massachusetts says that this will work for Malden or for Everett and these other cities and not work for us. But I also want to add also that they do separate their trash. Everett has their trash for the trash. They supplied a recycling bin with a cover on it so it's not going to be blowing all over the city.
I may be mistaken. I think everything goes in the bin.
Just the recycling items go in the bin. Well, I know because I have friends who deal with there too.
All right.
That's why I'm up here speaking because I do know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And I just think that this would be something to really consider. I mean, you guys all want to recycle, I think it's a great idea, but to encourage recycling, even if it works out we don't have the points, have that bin for the recycling and the trash and when it's put together. I'm sure a lot of people...
Well, again, it goes to the amount of savings that is realized out of the program.
Right, so we less trash, more revenue, we're not spending out more for trash, we're recycling.
My name is Mary Womellan. I live at 3 Stadium Road. I am not really in favor of it, but if it means cuts in the fire department and the police, I don't know how many people remember the Depression back years ago. I don't remember it, but I remember my mother saying my father had to take a cut and pay the police and the fire. If it means less equipment, sometimes you have more men and not enough equipment. Now you got more equipment and not enough men. We have to get help from outside cities. I had a friend of mine who was supposed to pick me up for something, and she had a stroke, and I didn't know she did, and I had to get help for her. Suppose there was no help there for her. I would rather pay the extra money to reassure that my friend's life was saved because of me, because I spoke to a policeman when the fire department was out on a call to help her. And I mean, I don't want to see my house burned down because there's not enough equipment and firemen to fight the fire. There's a lot of things. And I would like to know also, all right, you said we can use any kind of a bin we want for our recyclables. All right, what about a cardboard box? They pick up cardboard. What I'm frustrated with is I use one bin because my sister and I don't have a lot of recyclables. But the thing is, when they pick up the bins, they pick them up and they throw them. And they break and crack. Is there any way you can get the JRM to stop doing that?
Yes, it's a contractor item. We do get, regular complaints on that kind of activity. It's something we have to deal with contractors.
Because, I mean, I spoke to the guy. I was out there. He threw, I said, please don't throw that. I said, you're breaking the things. And I set it to the wall. He paid no attention to me. But if it means... I understand your point, and we try to reemphasize those kinds of things with a contractor on a weekly or monthly basis. Because it means you've got to cut out the things for the seniors and the schools and education, then I think we should all at least be willing to pay. If you don't have enough trash, say for a 33-gallon bag, I use 30-gallon bags. I forgot one week to put out my trash. I didn't realize until I heard the truck coming. It was too late. Okay, to get up all my small barrel things that I have. I could go almost 2 to 3 weeks. So let's say if I buy the bag and pay $2 a bag. I don't have to put a bag out every week. I can put it out once every other week or every 3 weeks. Because I'm a single person. I don't have that much trash. So what's the harm of doing that? It would save you money, but it means you wouldn't have to use a bag every week. People that are, small families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jane Swivell, Ward 3. I live at 557 Pleasant Street. I have 2 issues. One, recently there was trash. It was a couch that was left in my mother's ward, which is Ward 8. And I went to the Board of Health Department, and I want to commend Chris Webb and his staff for getting rid of the problem. Second question is, will housing, because I live at 557 Pleasant Street, will housing be part of the pay-as-you-throw program, or is it just for single residents? And
the entire city is participating in the program, the housing authority as well. I don't think there's any change to a building such as 557. I know they are trying to recycle more, but I do not think there's an increased cost. Housing authority will pay for that through their own revenue.
There's also, which I noted to my councilman, Paul DePietro, that there's also rodents as a result of the current trash, before the approach.
At 557?
At 557.
That's a housing authority issue. We're glad to pass the information along. But Mr. Webb, sure, we'll be glad to take a look at that.
We're on it, Gene.
The Board of Health.
We're working on it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.